Merry Christmas, everyone. So today, I'm going to be giving you guys your Christmas present, which is 25 tips to help you guys improve in Road Company. This is going to go all the way from beginner to advanced, so it will cover pretty much everyone. But before we get started, if you guys want to give me a Christmas present, make sure to smash that subscribe button. If you've already given me that present, you guys can always hit the like button. A like would be greatly appreciated. So, let's get into it. So starting out with the first tip to help you guys improve in Road Company, and this is a very beginner tip, is to never peek the same corner twice, especially if you shot from it. What that basically means is that if you're holding a corner and the enemy is there, and then you peek that corner, and then you shoot the enemy, and you do a little bit of damage, and then they start firing back and you start going into cover, don't peek that same corner again. Try maneuver your way out of the situation, or just completely ape the enemy on the damage that you have done. Peeking the same corner twice, let's say that hypothetical situation again, but you peek the same corner twice. That enemy's already waiting for you. They're there, and they will shred you to pieces like that. So, always try either maneuver your way out of the situation, or, try at least ape the enemy on the damage that you have done. The second tip that I have for you guys is to track the glide trails. Tracking the glide trails basically means that if there are 3 people, and when they glide in, there's a bunch of red smoke. Let's say all 3 of them are heading towards the objective. Okay, that means that we have to fire the objective. But then there's just one person, and they're flying in a completely opposite direction, and they're landing on a completely opposite side of the map. What are they doing there? They're going to be away from the conflict, and so therefore they're going to use that time to either flank or do something that will benefit their team. So basically, that means that you should always be on the lookout for, if a guy is just flying straight over there, there's probably a good reason that they're going to be flanking. So watch out. The next tip that I have for you guys is to pre-aim at head height. This basically means that your crosshairs should pretty much always stay at head height. The only exceptions are if they are higher than you or if they're lower than you. Pre-aiming at head height basically means if they get some damage off on you, a very small amount, and you turn around because you've taken damage, you turn around, you're already on their head, at their head height, and you just go bam, 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 bam. You will end them completely, even if they get the first shot off. The next tip that I have for you guys is to use your full movement set. Using your full movement set basically means that, you have jumps, you have dodge rolls, you have running, you have walking, and all that stuff. Use it to your advantage. Walking and padded steps work well. Even if many people don't do walking, like walk around, padded steps and walking work. So using your full movement set can extremely help you. The next tip that I have for you guys is to dodge roll hop. Basically, I created this kind of thing because I don't think many people know about it. I wouldn't say I created it, actually. I would just say I kind of found it and put it out there on YouTube. Dodge roll hop basically means that when you dodge roll, as soon as the animation for the dodge roll lands your character's feet on the ground, jump. Then, after the jump, as soon as your character's toes hit the ground, because that's the first thing that will hit the ground first, as soon as your character's toes hit the ground, dodge roll again. So, it's a dodge roll, then as soon as your character's feet hit the ground, jump, and then as soon as your character's toes hit the ground, dodge roll again. This immediately resets your dodge roll at a faster time span. So, using dodge roll hop to get out of a situation where you may have to run from the enemy or pull an evasive maneuver from a sniper is extremely useful, because one, when you're on dodge roll, you're on the ground, right? Then you jump, then you're up in the air, and then you're back on the ground now. And trust me, you won't even have to do it in a rapid series dodge roll, jump, dodge roll, jump. Literally once or twice is already enough to pretty much escape an enemy, depending on the distance, So the next tip that I have for you guys is to count the players. Basically what that means is that if there are 3 players in a public match, so we're talking public match, there are 3 players fighting, and it's a 4v4. Where is the 4th player? 2 options. He's either AFK or he's going for a flank. If you don't see that player within, let's say, 30 seconds, probably a good chance to watch behind you. The next tip that I have for you guys, and this is going to go more into a little bit of experienced players in Road Company, and that is to learn 2 roads to level 30, then open up. Basically, what that means is I used to play Anvil, like a lot of Anvil. He was like my main rogue, right? Then I also played Saint because, you know, sometimes people would take Anvil, and then, you know, then I'd play Saint. So those were my two rogues that I learned, and they were the ones who taught me the basics. These two rogues have to teach you the basics. They have to teach you, this, you know, this is how you buy things, this is how you jump, this is how you do all that kind of stuff, and then give you some game experience and game time with that rogue. Then at level 30, you should have about enough reputation to purchase your first rogue, and that is what I mean by opening up. You need to open up your catalog now. You have the basics. Now you need to specialize yourself to every single rogue. And so at level 30, I bought Talon. And then after Talon, I bought Chak. And then after Chak, I bought Kestrel. And then the list keeps going on and on. There was a very big gap between Chak and Kestrel, actually. But, you know, that's besides the point. You know, I still opened up later on. So, the next tip that I have for you guys is when holding corners to never really expose more than half your body unless you're moving to the situation. Basically, what that means is when you're holding a corner, and let's say it's a hallway, this obviously depends on the angle, but let's say you're in a hallway, right? You're standing at the end of the hallway, at the corner of the hallway, right? So you're standing there, there's a man, well, not a man, just, you know, a rogue that's coming along, right? And then you have to peek out and then take him out. Exposing more than half of your body basically means that they have more chance to hit you. Half of your body is the minimum that you need to be able to hit them, because, you know, you need to be able to get out there, you know, and then hit them, right? We're not talking first person here, we're in a third person game, so half of your body is way more than enough. And that's why with axe throws and other things, you'll only really see me expose more than half of my body if I'm jumping or other things like that and being extremely aggressive. The next tip that I have for you guys is to combine your tasks like dodge roll and swap shoulders. Basically, I'm going to pull another hypothetical situation for you guys. If you dodge roll, and then you stand up, and then you shoulder swap, and then you see an enemy from the shoulder swap, you see an enemy, and now it's too late to react on it because you're now out, like, in a running position. Now you have to turn and run the other way. But let's put in another hypothetical situation. If you dodge roll, and then you swap shoulders, and during the dodge roll you see the enemy from swapping the shoulders, during the dodge roll, you're already up and you're ready to act on that situation. It is way more efficient and way more useful to dodge roll and then shoulder swap. And by combining tasks, I don't just mean this scenario. This scenario is the most, I guess, used by people. For example, jumping and shoulder swapping is also pretty good. So combining your tasks is very, very important. So the next tip that I have for you guys is to find your sensitivity. Don't just copy, let's say, you know, someone else's like a big person's sensitivity, because while that sensitivity may work for you, you need to find your own sensitivity. It is way more beneficial to have your own sensitivity that you are comfortable with, that you know, and all that stuff, rather than picking a, you know, big streamer sensitivity. Don't just copy a big streamer sensitivity because it's a big streamer's sensitivity. Find your own sensitivity. Go into the shooting range for 30 minutes and just find your sensitivity. Trust me, it only takes 30 minutes. So the next tip that I have for you guys is to be quick on your feet. This basically means always stay on the move. Never really stay still. If you're staying still, maybe only about 30 seconds, you should be in a position. Then you should get moving, right? 30 seconds is more than enough to find intel on where they are, you know, what's going to happen and all that kind of stuff. Then act on it. 30 seconds is all you really, really need to get the intel and then act on it. Move and do your thing. But staying in a position for like 45 seconds, just waiting for something to happen, isn't going to work. You need to always be on the move. You'll be a very, very easy target, but you will also be not that useful. Even if there is someone there, you could have just, heard them and then go the other way. And so, then the next tip that I have for you guys And this leads into the last one, is to familiarize yourself with audio. Basically, this means if you hear footsteps in the right ear, and it's louder to the right ear than the left ear, then they're to your right. If the footsteps are louder to your left ear, then they're in your left. This obviously applies to people with headphones and doesn't really apply to people who use TV speakers or something like that. But to people with headphones, if the noise is loud to your right ear, they're to your right, and if the noise is loud to your left ear, they're to your left. Simple enough. That's basically a rundown. If the noise is a bit behind the left ear and a bit behind the right ear, they're behind you. It's pretty simple. Trust me, you will learn it eventually. The next thing that I have for you guys is when you have a sniper rifle, move and aim. So basically what that means is that you need to be confident with a sniper rifle. I'll talk about this tip later, but basically what that means is that if you are moving with a sniper rifle, you need to move your scope, and by that I literally mean move your character, so use the left joystick or the WASD keys, and move your scope along, and then as soon as it lines up, pull the trigger. Because if you are using your aiming, like your actual right joystick or your mouse, right, it may be a lot harder to control. Now, that's just my sensitivity, but I'm not sure about your guys' sensitivity, whether it's more precise because you only play snipers. But as I said, at level 30, open up. So, you have to cater for everything. And so moving, right, and being more precise, and then as soon as the scope is directly on the target, boom, hit the trigger. Alright, so the next tip that I have for you guys is look at the shadows. This is going to be a bit more advanced, but basically what that means is if there's an enemy and they're waiting behind a wall, that wall will actually project a kind of shadow to see the enemy. And so using that, seeing, okay, the enemy is there, right, can be extremely vital, because one, you don't actually have to peek anything, right? You just see them and they're like, oh yeah, they're there, for sure, right? So using shadows is extremely useful, and that's why when you're on PC, turning up shadows is really helpful, because one, you can see more of it and it will be way more visible. Okay, so the next tip after shadows is to walk crouched. Not many people actually know that walking crouched, even if you don't have padded steps, completely silences your footsteps. It completely does, even if you don't have padded steps. You also aren't revealed in the perk hunter. So walking crouched, not being revealed in the perk hunter, and then it's pretty much like a walking crouch is about a bit slower, I would say, than normal walking speed or anything like that. But it is a good trade-off to not be as fast, but quiet, and not being revealed by the perk hunter. Trust me, walking crouch is like a lifesaver to me. So the next tip that I have for you guys is to learn melees. Now this may seem a bit weird, but when you think about it, it is kind of important. Melees are really important. I use, like, my melee go-to is a katana, because katanas were Talon, they were Vise, they were pretty much like all of my first to second rogues, right? Obviously, Anvil had a baseball bat, but I didn't really learn to throw that as much. So going to back what I was saying about melees, learning melees are extremely useful, especially when holding quarters, because trust me, if they're running directly at you, it's like a Christmas present. Just being able to throw the melee, it's a Christmas present, trust me. Like, probably someone is going to do it, and you should say thank you, because it's a literal Christmas present, trust me. So the next tip that I have for you guys when after melees is, this is going to go kind of back to the beginners, but it is just don't try hitting clips at the beginning of your journey in Rogue Company. Why? Because when you are like just trying to hit clips and other things like that, you're not going to focus on the actual techniques that you need to help you improve in Rogue Company, and that is pre-aiming and other things like that. Because trust me, if you did pre-aim and you learned how to hit melees early on from the beginning, and then you also learned, like, for example, how to count the players, how to deal with that kind of stuff, then when you get more advanced, and it won't take long if you can grasp all these tricks and like tips and stuff like that clearly it does, like, it will work, right? The technique will pay off to get the clicks. Trust me. So there's no point in trying to rush it. So the next tip that I have for you guys is, this is going to go more to the players who use a sniper, and that is to run around with a sniper rifle. Now, I know that may not seem like, you know, so logical up there, but trust me. Don't just stay in one place with the sniper rifle. Yes, you have a sniper rifle, but at the same time, you are going to be way more useful to your team if you're running around the map, you know where they are, bam, hit one, bam, hit two. Obviously, SMGs, and they are gonna win, you know, from a close range scenario. I don't mean go up in their face. I mean, be at a certain distance of, like, AR range, right? Because SMGs kind of go out of, like, I guess, how do I say? SMGs kind of go out at the AR range. The only two ARs that I can, the only two SMGs that I think that can compete with ARs are the LMPX and the D40C. They're the kind of ranged SMGs. But you should be able to win everything if you are really, really good with sniping. And that leads into the tip that I said about, like, being confident and moving with your sniper. So, the next tip that I have for you guys is something where, like, if 3 players are coming straight at you, right? One's to the side, one's to, like, your left, and 2 in the middle, right? What do you do, right? It's a 1v3 right now, and it's not necessarily clutch. Maybe your team's all on a flank and they just left you behind, right? What happens there? Best thing that you can do is get them all in front of you. Don't try juggle left and right, because it becomes a headache, right? Left and right, okay? Left and center. Then try gain an angle where both of them are in front of you. You can see the situation, you can do what you do. The next thing that I have for you guys is to stay calm during apes and clutches. Basically, if, you know, there's a clutch and, you know, let's say it's a 1v3. If you don't think straight and you aren't thinking straight, you can't perform to the best of your ability. Because, trust me, if you're thinking, oh my god, my entire team just got wiped, this is so bad, what do I do? Just think, no. This clutch, I can do this, right? And that's why whenever I have a clutch or something along those lines, right, I usually say, alright, come at me. Because 1, that calms my nerves down, and 2, that also projects a sense of confidence, you know, and it helps mentally, right? Alright, so the next tip that I have for you guys is when reloading on the screen, or when reloading, you know, just reloading, look to the corners of your screen. Why? Because then you usually be able to spot an enemy. Because you'll be surprised how many times I've been able to spot an enemy from, you know, simply just reloading. When you reload, look to the corners of your screen. Then, always look out for the color red. That's the next tip that I have for you guys. Always look for the color red. And so when you're reloading, if you're looking for the color red, you'll be able to see the enemy health bars. You'll know, okay, wait, there's a guy there. Okay, and then you move immediately towards him. You know what he's going to do. And so, just off the bat, right, reloading, and then just knowing, okay, I can act off that. And then you'll have a full mag as well. Alright, so the next thing that I have for you guys is to be confident. Man, this is a really, 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 like, important tip that I don't think many people know about. They think, hey, I'm pretty confident, but at the same time, like, their gameplay doesn't show it. And you can just tell when someone is very confident in their abilities in Rogue Company. If they're running around, they know what they're doing, you know, this guy is a threat because, like, you know, he's running around, he knows what he's doing, he is very, very insistent on doing what he is doing. But if then you have the guy who is maybe skillfully better than the guy who is confident, then but he doesn't have the same type of confidence, it's not going to work, because it simply doesn't. What I mean by this is, for example, if you have, let's say, a skillful person, and then a person who isn't as skillful, but confident, and then the skillful person isn't confident, If the confident person is there to win all the shots, he's there even if the attacker or the opposition is going to be first to the objective, he's still trying. Like, at one point he is going to succeed and going to overtake the person who is less confident with themselves, even if they are skillfully better. So the next tip that I have for you guys is to play for eliminations over the objective. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean like run around eliminating people and don't look after the objective. No. I mean, if there is a person standing between you and the objective, you need to take the person, out of the equation. But that also means, right, that if, for example, there is a person who is on a flank and you have some time to get the objective, go to the objective first and then wait for the person. Deploy your team to, stop that person from going there. So playing for eliminations to help you get the objective is extremely important. Not just sitting back, waiting for them, and then hoping that for some reason that your team should do the work. No. You need to be aggressive. You need to play for the eliminations over the objective. But they all have to be in the greater cause of the objective. Alright, so the last tip that I have for you guys is to treat clutches like a 1v1. And I know that may seem really, really weird to start out with, but let me explain why. I pulled a 1v5 clutch, and for the most part, the team was apart. There was at one point where 2 people were chasing me, and I instantly dealt with them with a bounce nade, so it was pretty easy. I didn't really have to confront them up front. But every single other kill that I got was basically a 1v1. There was no other teammate trying to back him up. And that is something that is extremely important. You need to treat clutches like a 1v1 times how many people there are. Now, if they are if they are running together at you, try separate them. Because a 1v1 is a lot easier to grasp than a 1v3, a 1v4, or even a 1v5. So, trying to grasp and trying to get a good sense on the situation to start out with would be to do a 1v1 for every single time. So, with that being said, that is going to be 25 tips to help you guys improve in Rogue Company. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We are currently sitting at 72 subscribers, and I really, really want to hit 75 subscribers before New Year's Eve. So please hit the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's video because I'm uploading daily Rogue Company content. Bye-bye.